You've been watching what you eat for years. You cook at home. You try to make sensible choices. You've cut back on the obvious things, the cakes, the deep-fried foods, the late-night treats. And yet, something still doesn't feel quite right. Your energy isn't what it used to be. Your joints ache a little more than they should. Your digestion gives you trouble. Your doctor keeps mentioning inflammation, or blood pressure, or blood sugar, and you can't quite figure out why when you're trying so hard. Here is what most people don't realize. Some of the foods that cause the most harm to the body after 60 are not the obvious ones. They're the ones hiding in plain sight, the foods you might eat every day without a second thought. Foods that were marketed to you as harmless or even healthy. Foods that the body of a 40-year-old might process without too much trouble, but that a body over 60 simply cannot handle the same way. Because here is the truth. Aging changes everything about the way your body metabolizes food. Your gut lining becomes more permeable. Your kidneys filter more slowly. Your liver processes toxins less efficiently. Your immune system becomes more sensitive to inflammatory triggers. What was tolerable at 45 can become genuinely damaging at 65. Today, I want to have an honest conversation with you about 4 specific foods that research is consistently showing to be particularly harmful for adults over 60, and what you can eat instead to protect your health, your energy, and your independence as you grow older. I'm Dr. Naira Stein, and over the course of my career working closely with older adults, I have seen firsthand how profoundly diet shapes the aging process. Not in a vague, general way, but in very specific, measurable, day-to-day ways. I have watched patients eliminate certain foods and see their energy return. Their inflammation markers drop, their sleep improve, their doctors reduce their medications. These are not miracles. They are the predictable result of giving an aging body what it needs, and removing what is quietly harming it. What I'm sharing with you today is grounded in current nutritional science, physiology research, and clinical experience. I will always tell you why something is harmful, not just that it is, because you deserve to understand your own body, and because understanding is what turns information into real, lasting change. Please stay with me. What follows may surprise you. It may even challenge some long-held habits. That's all right. Awareness is always the first step. Why the body after 60 is different. Before we name the 4 foods, it's worth spending a moment on why age changes your relationship with what you eat. Because once you understand the biology, the rest of this will make complete sense. First, chronic low-grade inflammation, what researchers now call inflammaging, becomes a defining feature of the aging body. The immune system, after decades of responding to infections, injuries, and stressors, begins to operate in a kind of low-level alert state. Certain foods feed this fire, others calm it. After 60, the gap between these two categories becomes much wider and much more consequential. Second, insulin sensitivity declines. The body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar, which means foods that cause glucose spikes are more damaging, and more likely to contribute to metabolic disease, cognitive decline, and cardiovascular damage than they were in earlier decades. Third, gut health shifts. The diversity of beneficial bacteria in the gut microbiome naturally decreases with age, and the lining of the digestive tract becomes more vulnerable. Foods that disrupt this environment can trigger systemic effects that go far beyond digestion, affecting mood, immunity, brain function, and joint health. And fourth, the liver and kidneys, which process and filter everything you consume, work more slowly. Substances that a younger body clears quickly can accumulate and cause harm in an older body. Keep these 4 changes in mind as we go through each food. They explain everything. The 4 foods to avoid after 60. Ultra-processed packaged foods. This is perhaps the most important category on this list, and the broadest. Ultra-processed foods are not simply junk food. They are a specific category defined by researchers. Products manufactured with industrial ingredients and additives that have no equivalent in a home kitchen. Think packaged crackers, flavored chips, instant noodles, breakfast cereals coated in sugar, processed meat products, flavored yogurts, and most shelf-stable snack foods. What the research shows. A large-scale study following nearly 45,000 adults found that a 10% increase in the proportion of ultra-processed foods in the diet was associated with a 14% higher risk of all-cause mortality. More recent research has linked heavy, ultra-processed food consumption, specifically to accelerated cognitive decline in older adults, the equivalent of aging the brain by nearly 2 extra years. For the body over 60, the damage operates through several pathways simultaneously. These foods are typically high in refined carbohydrates, which spike blood sugar and drive insulin resistance. They contain industrial seed oils, such as soybean, corn, and sunflower oil, that are rich in omega-6 fatty acids and promote systemic inflammation when consumed in excess. They are packed with sodium, which strains aging kidneys and raises blood pressure. And they contain dozens of artificial additives, emulsifiers, preservatives, flavor enhancers, that disrupt the gut microbiome and trigger inflammatory responses. Many patients are genuinely shocked to discover that foods they considered basic or neutral, crackers, flavored oatmeal packets, deli meats, fall squarely into this category. If the ingredient list contains more than 5 items or contains words you cannot pronounce, it almost certainly qualifies. What to eat instead? Whole grains in their minimally processed form: oats, brown rice, barley, quinoa. Homemade soups and stews using real vegetables, legumes, and lean proteins. Fresh or lightly dried fruits instead of packaged fruit snacks. Nuts and seeds in their natural form, lightly salted or unsalted. Sugary beverages, including certain fruit juices. Liquid sugar is one of the most underestimated threats to health after 60. Sodas, sweetened iced teas, energy drinks, sports drinks, and, this surprises many people, most commercially produced fruit juices are all in this category. Why liquid sugar is uniquely harmful. When sugar is consumed in liquid form, it bypasses many of the body's natural satiety mechanisms. There is no fiber to slow absorption, no chewing to trigger fullness signals. Glucose enters the bloodstream rapidly, causing a sharp spike in blood sugar. In a younger body with robust insulin function, this is managed without too much difficulty. In a body over 60, where insulin sensitivity has naturally declined, this repeated spiking causes cumulative damage. High blood sugar over time damages the small blood vessels, a process called microvascular damage, which affects the eyes, the kidneys, the nerves, and the heart. It also accelerates a process called glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins in the body, stiffening tissues and accelerating biological aging. The skin, the joints, the arterial walls, all are affected. Fruit juice deserves a specific mention here. Many older adults have been drinking orange juice or apple juice daily for decades, believing it to be a healthy choice. But the truth is that once fruit is juiced, the fiber is removed, and what remains is essentially sugar water with some vitamins. A glass of orange juice can contain as much sugar as a can of soda, and it is absorbed just as rapidly. I am not telling you to fear fruit. Whole fruit, with its fiber, its antioxidants, its complete nutritional package, is genuinely beneficial. It is the juice that is the problem. This is a meaningful distinction. What to drink instead? Plain water with a slice of lemon, cucumber, or fresh mint if you prefer some flavor. Unsweetened herbal teas: chamomile, ginger, peppermint, green tea. Sparkling water, plain or lightly flavored with real fruit. Small amounts of diluted whole fruit smoothies blended with fiber intact. Processed meats and cured deli products. Processed meats, including bacon, sausages, hot dogs, salami, pepperoni, and most deli counter meats such as bologna, pastrami, and smoked turkey slices, represent one of the most well-documented dietary risks in modern nutrition research. The World Health Organization has classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen, meaning there is sufficient evidence linking it to cancer, specifically colorectal cancer, which becomes significantly more common after age 60. The multiple mechanisms of harm. The risks from processed meat don't come from a single ingredient. They come from a combination of factors that work together against the aging body. Sodium nitrates and nitrites are used as preservatives in cured and smoked meats. When consumed, these compounds can form nitrosamines in the digestive tract, chemicals that are strongly associated with cellular damage and tumor formation. The risk is compounded by the high heat cooking methods often used with these products. Excessive sodium is present in virtually all processed meats in quantities that are harmful for older adults. A single serving of deli turkey can contain 600 to 900 milligrams of sodium, a third to nearly half of the daily recommended limit. Chronic high sodium intake strains the kidneys, raises blood pressure, contributes to fluid retention, and increases the risk of stroke and heart failure. Saturated fats in processed meats, particularly in bacon, sausages, and salami, contribute to elevated LDL cholesterol and arterial inflammation, accelerating the cardiovascular risks that already increase with age. Advanced glycation end products, AGEs, are compounds that form when proteins and fats are exposed to high heat during cooking and processing. These molecules promote inflammation and oxidative stress throughout the body, and they accumulate more rapidly in older tissues. Patients often tell me they switched from bacon to turkey bacon or from beef sausage to chicken sausage, believing this was a significant improvement. Unfortunately, the processing methods, the curing, the smoking, the additives, are often identical. The protein source matters less than the processing. Always read the label. What to eat instead. Fresh, unprocessed poultry, roasted or baked chicken or turkey with herbs. Fresh fish and seafood, particularly fatty fish rich in omega-3s, salmon, sardines, mackerel. Legumes as a protein source, lentils, chickpeas, black beans, edamame. Eggs, which provide high-quality protein without the additives of processed meat. Refined white flour products and high glycemic carbohydrates. This fourth category is perhaps the one that generates the most conversation and the most resistance in my clinic. White bread, white pasta, white rice, regular crackers, most commercially baked goods. These are foods that many people have built their daily eating around for their entire lives. I understand how significant it feels to reconsider them, but let me explain, very clearly, what happens inside the aging body when these foods are consumed regularly, and then let you decide. The blood-sugar connection. Refined grains have had their fiber, bran, and germ removed during processing, leaving behind essentially pure starch. Starch breaks down into glucose rapidly in the digestive tract, faster, in fact, than table sugar for many products. This drives a sharp spike in blood sugar, followed by an equally sharp crash, which triggers hunger, fatigue, irritability, and cravings for more carbohydrates within just a few hours. For a body over 60, this cycle is particularly damaging. As mentioned earlier, insulin sensitivity declines with age. Repeated blood sugar spikes accelerate this decline, moving the body toward prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. They also feed the chronic inflammation that drives so many of the conditions that worsen with age: arthritis, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, and even certain cancers. The gut and brain connection. Refined carbohydrates also feed the less beneficial bacteria in the gut microbiome, promoting dysbiosis, an imbalance that has been linked to depression, anxiety, and cognitive impairment in older adults. The gut-brain connection is one of the most rapidly expanding areas of medical research, and what emerges from this science is clear. What disrupts the gut in an aging body also disrupts the mind. Furthermore, a diet heavy in refined flour products is almost always a diet low in fiber, and fiber is absolutely essential for the aging digestive system, for cardiovascular health, for blood sugar regulation, and for the maintenance of a healthy gut microbiome. Whole grain and refined grain versions of the same food are not nutritionally equivalent. They are profoundly different. The fiber in whole grain bread slows glucose absorption dramatically. This single difference changes what the food does inside your body. What to eat instead? 100% whole grain or sourdough bread. True sourdough fermentation reduces the glycemic impact. Whole grain pasta or pasta made from legumes such as lentil or chickpea pasta. Brown rice, wild rice, or ancient grains like farro, millet, or bulgur wheat. Sweet potatoes and regular potatoes eaten with the skin for fiber and nutrients. Oats. Whole rolled or steel cut, not instant flavored varieties. What this is really about. I want to be very clear about something. This conversation is not about fear. It is not about perfection, and it is absolutely not about depriving yourself of pleasure or turning every meal into a medical exercise. Eating is one of life's great joys. Sharing food with people you love is nourishment for the soul as much as the body. A special meal, a celebration, a piece of your grandmother's pie at a family gathering. These things matter deeply, and I would never tell you otherwise. What I am asking you to consider is your everyday baseline. The foods you eat not once a month, but 4 times a week. The habits that operate quietly in the background of your life, either building your health or slowly eroding it. Those are the choices that shape how you feel at 70, at 75, at 80. The body after 60 is not damaged or broken. It is experienced. It has carried you through decades of living, and now, more than ever, it rewards care. It responds to whole, nourishing food with remarkable consistency. With more energy, less pain, sharper thinking, better sleep, and greater resilience. Small shifts, made consistently, compound over time into profound changes. You do not need to overhaul everything at once. Start with one food from this list. Replace it with something from the alternatives provided. See how you feel. Let your body guide you from there. Getting older is not the enemy. Uninformed habits are. And the moment you understand what is harming your body, you take back the power to change it. That understanding, that moment of clarity, is something no medication can give you. Only knowledge can. You came here today because you care about your health, because you want to feel well, because you believe, rightly, that it is not too late to feel better than you do right now. That belief is one of the most powerful things about you. Your body is listening to every choice you make. Feed it with the respect and attention it deserves, and it will carry you forward with strength and grace for many years to come. I'm Dr. Naira Stein. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take good care of yourself, because every single day is an opportunity to do so.